Alrighty there. On this next action-packed video, I will teach you boys how to perform a dihybrid cross. I want you all taking notes. Please use a pencil. Please give yourselves a lot of space, maybe a couple of sheets of paper, and follow along as best as you can. I promise I'll do my best to make this clear for you. But that being said, if you're not taking notes, you might have a hard time with this, and this might come back to haunt you down the road. So here we go. Without any further ado, a dihybrid cross. What makes this unique is that now we're going to be looking at two traits or alleles, genes, whatever buzzword you want to use. So suppose here's the problem. It's like, it's a word problem basically. You have a guy and a girl, husband, wife, and they are heterozygous. They're both heterozygous for hair color and earlobes. So let's just go ahead and use variables that we've been using already. So where it says the cross. So you got to take the word problem, and now you're on your own. You would have to put this out into a cross. So let's take the two heterozygous individuals and make them big B, and big E, little e, times big B, big E, little e. Okay? You can see, male, female, and so forth and so on. So that's your cross. If you do not write the cross down correctly, everything from this point onward will be completely incorrect. Step 2 is what I like to call FOIL. So I'm going to borrow a little page from your math or perhaps algebra class. Okay? So here's one of the parents. Let's just suppose it's the guy. And we're going to get all the combinations of B's and E's. So again, FOIL, if you've never heard of this, FOIL stands for first, outer, inner, last. You with me? First, outer, inner, last. So let's take the first B and the first E. And what is that combination going to be? Big B, big E. Hopefully everyone sees that. That's first. That's the F. Outer, big B, little e. Inner, now we had that little b, big E. You can see my arrows, and then of course last is the little b, little e. Sometimes people see this one right here, little b and big E, and they get all confused. They're like, sir, I thought the capital letter always goes first. Yes, the capital letter goes first when it's big B and then followed by little b. Here the B's and E's are unrelated. We're just getting the combinations of B's and E's. Now we move on to the other parent, but like I said, I made it relatively simple in the fact that they are both heterozygous. So you see the combination, same thing below, big B, big E, big B, little b, big E, and little b, little e. It's like a tongue twister. Okay, that was the second step, the FOIL. Now the third step. Here's where we're going to have to go ahead and set up a Punnett Square. This is where it gets fun, man. You either love this or not, but once I hope to God, once it clicks in your head, you're going to have fun with this. All right, boys? So here we go. With the previous types of Punnett Squares we were doing, those were called monohybrid crosses. So mono, one trait, hair color and digital hair or whatever the case was. And with a monohybrid cross, you only have 4 squares. And you've been taught that already. You should know that well by now. For a dihybrid cross, like the step says, it's going to be 16 squares. And just to remind you again, as you work this out, on your own, give yourself room. Use a pencil in case you start messing up. And this is already cheating a little bit because you can see the answers. But that being said, let's walk through it. Okay, so you can see those letters. Those were the combinations from the FOIL from the previous step. So I have one again. Doesn't matter which parent goes where, but once again, these parents both have the same, genotype, so it doesn't matter. So those are combinations of B's and E's. Now we add them up. Okay, does this make sense? Big B, bam. Big E, bang. Okay, all the way through to all, until we fill out all 16 squares. Now, for you at home doing this, why don't you hit pause on your computer for just a second and fill out that chart on your own? And don't cheat, boys. Don't cheat, man. Cheaters don't prosper or whatever, right? So don't cheat. Fill it out on your own. Okay, go ahead and hit pause now. Okay, now that you have completed this awesome Punnett Square, look at what I have, and hopefully you have come to the same answers. So these 16 squares should be filled in with your 16 genotypes. So in this instance, the genotype contains 4 letters, 2 B's and of course 2 E's. So now we're going to get on to step 4, and I'm going to need you to ask yourself, how many of these kiddos, possibilities here, are going to have brown hair and earlobes? Or if you want to use the variable, how many are going to be somewhere in there, how many do they have a big B and a big E? So I'm going to tell you right now, you need a marker or a crayon or a pencil color for this class. Okay, you need 4. So I'm using blue, boys. Okay, so I hope you see what I'm doing here. There's my chart. Anything that has a big B and a big E, I am circling with blue. I'm doing this so you can follow along. It's easy to miscount something, okay? One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So how many with a big B and a big E? Okay, and we're going to see if we're correct in just a moment. I'm switching to the color red. Again, you can pick whatever color you want. I just need you to have 4 colors. So how many have a big B and a lowercase e? 1, 2, 3. 3 of those bad boys or girls. Now switching to orange, just because that's what I have laying around the house. How many have a little b? Or of course it's homozygous recessive, so it has to be 2 little b's. But anyways, how many start with a little b and then little e as the, or big E rather, as the other combination? 1, 2, 3. All right, almost done. Look at that. And then lastly, we have the one little recessive dude. I'm going to use green, and that's 1. So everyone sees of this possibility of 16 kiddos, or rather not 16 kiddos, but the 16 possibilities. 9 are brown-haired with earlobes. 3 are brown-haired with attached earlobes. 3 are blonde with earlobes, and 1, this little dude, has both recessive traits as expressed in his or her phenotype. So let's finish this up by determining that phenotypic ratio, referring back to the previous step. It added up to 9331. So remember, always put P 9331, and just a little hint, it should add up to 16. So if you added something wrong, like sometimes guys were in a hurry and they put 9431 or what have you, and then when you look at it over one more time, that's not 16. So that's just one quick way to check yourself. Now for funsies. This is a lot of fun. See, I told this is fun. This is a trick question that I get a lot of guys on, and I'll give you a problem similar to this at some point. Okay? A litter of 6. So here's the word problem. You have a litter of 16 feral hogs, boars. 12 are black, 4 are red. Okay, when people see those numbers, right away they go, oh, it's 16, therefore it must be a dihybrid cross. Well, guess what, boys? You got tricked. Okay? How many traits are we looking at here? It's just 1. That's their fur color. Of course, the fur color comes in 2 different phenotypes, but it's still just fur color. I didn't say, so many are black, so many are red, so many have curled tails, so many have straight tails. The tail structure is a different trait. So once again, we're looking at just color. Okay? 12 are black, 4 are red. So what I'm going to ask you to do is determine the genotypic and phenotypic ratios of the litter. Okay? And of course, you also have to do the same thing for the parents, mom and dad. So knowing that we're only looking at 1 trait, that's a big, huge, fat hint that it is a monohybrid cross problem. In other words, even though there are 16 kiddos, we're going to break this down into 4 squares. Ooh, it sounds like a band name, 4 squares. All right, whatever. So in fact, we can take that 12-to-4 ratio, break it down to a 3-to-1 ratio, and then from that point on, this becomes pretty easy. I'm just going to label big B for black to show that black is dominant, and even though red starts with R. It is still recessive to black, so we're going to keep little b. Okay? Those should be your parents. You do the math, bada boom, bada bing, and you have a phenotypic ratio of 3:1, a genotypic ratio of 1 to 2:1, and I concluded with a smiley face because it makes me happy. Have a great one.